Hi, welcome to my channel, Readerwoman, and let's talk books. I'm sorry, my name is Judy. I usually follow with that, but I was very excited. I had an opportunity last week. Let's see here, that was the 23rd of May, 2019, to see Molly Hashimoto and hear her speak about her new book, which is Birds of the West. Oops, let's see here, that's better. An artist's guide. And she is such a talented artist, first off. I really have enjoyed her work. A few years ago, probably two or three, I saw her at my local independent bookstore, and I got Colors of the West, which is basically all watercolor, which for me, which was so exciting, was the fact that, oh, and by the way, it's a signed copy. She talks palettes, she talks colors, she talks, because she's also a teacher, an art teacher. She does a lot of seminars and so forth. But just to kind of give you an idea, with palette and, sorry, but what colors she was using in this piece of work. And every page is full of magnificent artwork, but then also tidbits of history, who was there first in the sense of as artists who came through these areas and what kind of artwork they were doing. And I just have been really so grateful to have just happened upon her, actually. We're lucky in Bellingham to have Village Books, which is a very good independent bookstore. Very good. And they bring in authors anymore with the lack of money for, you know, they bring in usually one well-known author. I mean, Terry Brooks was coming through. They do a radio hour. But the last time I attended a radio hour, that was with T.C. Boyle. That was a few years ago too. But it was just a snippet with the author. Instead of when they present their books, to have, you know, you really get to not just hear them, but talk to them and hear other people's questions, and it's a much more interactive event. So I was a little disappointed when I went to the radio hour to see T.C. Boyle, because there's so much else going on. Whereas with the author events, that's very, very nice. So I was kind of surprised with her new book at the variety of art she was doing. And she said that she just felt that she needed to expand, and she always liked to keep learning. So she did a variety of work. Let's see here, the Snowy Plover, watercolor and gouache on toned paper. So, you know, and she's so generous. She tells you what she's done. Oh my gosh, look at that with the woodpeckers. So here, she was showing us the material she was working with, and it was very pliable, kind of a plastic material that she would chisel out to create this image, and then she would ink it and make print onto watercolor paper, and then would watercolor. Because when I was looking at that, it seemed like it was watercolor. And that was one of her processes. I was particularly taken with that. As a graphic designer, they're very graphic pieces of art, and also so striking. Watercolor can be a little bit more subtle, and so I thought that was a beautiful, beautiful thing. But then here is one of her, you know, plain watercolor. Oh, that's of a mallard. But you know what else really amazed me? She knew her birds. She has been studying them. She showed a picture of her family's basement where her twin sister and I forget, another sibling would go down in the basement with their dad and have games and everything, and he had put these huge posters up on the wall of all the birds. And so she definitely knew habitat. She just knew the genus, and it was really surprising how knowledgeable she was. But when you really look at the variety of birds that she has painted, yeah, I mean, this has just been a lifelong passion for her. I was also surprised too with she doesn't necessarily travel very far to find her birds. She usually will work from a photograph, so she does see the birds in situ, and then goes home and creates the artwork for it. I have to show you this one. Oh, that is just so Pacific Northwest. That is so beautiful. You know, I know there are a lot of places that have lots and lots of birds, but you know, here in my office over the winter, I really had some excitement. I saw, I'm sure I've seen the bird a long time, but I knew it wasn't a robin redbreast, but it was about the same size. But instead of a reddish breast, it was orange, bright orange. And you know, against winter colors where there's not much vivid out there, it just stood out. Come to find out, it's a varied thrush, and it comes down from Alaska for the winters and then goes back up. So I mean, my varied thrush here has already gone back home, but you know, it is a fascinating study because we get to look at them in our trees, in our backyards, in our front yards, on our walks. And yeah, it just reminded me to pay a little bit more attention, that it's wildlife that's around us all the time. I mean, I remember seeing a little documentary on New York City where they had hawks. So, you know, the wild lives with us. But I really recommend, if you ever get an opportunity, to either take a class or get a book, or, you know, if you have an opportunity to actually see her in person. She's a really nice lady, and she does some amazing work. So thought I'd share my latest book with you. Take care. We'll talk again soon. Bye.